Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah. I want to welcome you to Healthy Marriage Tips. Today, I will be addressing a topic that a reader wanted me to address a while back. It took me a little bit of time to go ahead and do the research, but today we're here. We're going to be talking about the fear of intimacy in marriage. This is a timely topic with a lot of people these days because, many times as a couple, you're expected to be able to have intimacy and feel comfortable with intimacy, yet, gee, who taught you how to be intimate? Where did you learn it? You're somehow expected to know these things, even though it hasn't been role modeled and you haven't been given examples of healthy intimacy and how to develop it. A lot of times with intimacy, I like to use the story of two porcupines on a cold night. I forget where I heard the story originally, but the porcupines, when it gets cold, they get closer together, but then they start to hurt in each other, and then they back off. And so there's this constant movement, getting close, getting further apart, getting close, getting further apart. I like that story because when you find yourself developing intimacy with your spouse, it typically stirs up a lot of uncomfortable feelings. I mean, it's not that you don't like them or anything such as that. Typically what happens, it brings up issues of closeness. And if you've never been close to anyone, it can be scary because, you're afraid that, if they really got to know me, they wouldn't like me, or they might not really like the real me. Or, how should we say, it brings up some of those childhood type issues of dependency because, when you get close to someone, you realize you need them. And part of you may not want to admit that or may not want to come to grips with the feelings that stirs up inside of you. It brings up many issues concerning your ability to both give and also to share and take. Now, if this is an area that you struggle with in your relationships, there are things that you can do about it. And I may go ahead and do several sessions on intimacy, but let me go ahead and start with these. One, you can start talking about your needs with each other. Now, it's going to be important to separate your needs from your wants and to be able to talk about it and also to be able to hear what they have to say and hear them out without getting defensive. You're going to have to practice both giving and receiving, both in terms of talking about emotional needs as well as physical touching, because some people, they would rather be, giving all the time or receiving all the time. But to develop intimacy, you've got to get to the point where you go back and forth, where there's giving and receiving and being able to talk about it. So a lot of times in our childhood, we were never taught how to do these things. And so we don't feel comfortable when we're in those positions. Or, in some families, they teach you, you have to be strong and independent. And if you come from one of those families, to develop intimacy, it scares you to death, because then you realize you are dependent on someone and you're not as strong and as independent as you thought you were. And dependency issues, intimacy brings up those dependency issues. I know many times as a counselor, this stuff comes up in counseling because people are scared of getting close to the counselor because, something might happen. And it does go back to those feelings of dependency. And it is natural with intimacy to have, much like the porcupines, getting take a few steps close, back off a little bit, get closer, back off, until you find where both of you feel comfortable. And it's going to take some readjustment over time, and that's okay. But I wanted to go ahead and start talking about this topic. If there's particular aspects of intimacy that you want me to address, feel free to list them down below. I'll be glad to get to them. I apologize that it took so long to go ahead and get to this, but I felt like I needed to go ahead and deal with those topics of lying and some of the effects of lying, because that's a common issue in a lot of marriages, and that's why I needed to deal with that. I hope you enjoyed it today, and I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Till then, best regards. Goodbye.